And we're joined now by its CEO, former Congressman Ted Deutch. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's been a very sad and busy morning for you, Ted. You know, upon hearing news of these murders, I was gutted, heartbroken, devastated, obviously, for these two victims and their families. But if I were to be honest with you, I wasn't that shocked or surprised. And we have been talking about the rise in anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic attacks over the course of the last 10 years or so, but especially in light of the October 7th attacks and the subsequent war after that. And our friend of the show, Amir Tabone, I think put it really well in a piece that he wrote today. And he says, calls to globalize the Intifada and the glorification of Hamas, not in spite of, but because of its atrocities on October 7th, has made an attack like this a matter of when and where. And I'm wondering how you react to that, Ted, what your initial thoughts were upon hearing this news, and how alarmed the Jewish community should be.
Well, thanks for having me. And I think your reaction was the same that so many of us had, that first and foremost, we have to recall the memory of the lives lost. This beautiful, sweet couple that I knew personally, that were so committed to the work they do. They love the work they do. They were so committed that last night at our event, which was really focused on humanitarian diplomacy, a night that was supposed to be so hopeful, it turned so tragic. We have to remember them. And then we have to acknowledge everything that you just said, which is when you allow people to, and by allow, I mean when the world turns the other way, when people march down the street in support of Hamas, when they wear the garb of terrorists, when they chant the language of terrorists, when they support the massacre of Jews, there is little wonder that those words ultimately were going to have consequences. We knew it. We've been saying it. Everyone's been saying it. And yet there was this unwillingness for everyone to come together and to roundly condemn it and reject it, and to understand that it's never just the Jewish community that's harmed when there's anti-Semitism. It's our democracy. It's the values that we cherish. That's what last night showed us. And this is the moment when all of the beautiful expressions of support that I and our community has received from allies and friends in every corner of the world, for which we are immensely grateful, where we take those words of support and we turn them into action to fight against this millennia-old hatred once and for all.
I echo your sentiments and Biana's sentiments 100%. And I imagine for the Jewish community, there is just so many mixed emotions right now. There's the anger, right? There's the sadness. There's the sort of question of why, there's the helplessness, because you can't reason with hate, right? Hate by its very nature is irrational. And so, when I first heard about this couple and I looked into their backstory, being engaged or about to be engaged is literally supposed to be the happiest time in your life. There's this feeling of, obviously he hadn't proposed yet, but he apparently was about to. There's this feeling of excitement, of potential, of possibility. You're, filled with so much excitement about your future. And then, of course, this happens. What do you say, Ted, to their family members? What would you say to their family members on a day like this?
Well, my heart aches for their families, for the community. You're right. There's just no way to understand this. There's no rationale for this kind of evil. What happened yesterday was the realization of the worst fears of the Jewish community. And yes, we continue to come together, and importantly, yes, and even in the face of the concerns and the fear and the fact that this Shabbat, this Saturday, in synagogues around the world, there will be even a larger armed presence than there already is. The fact that we have to worry when we gather together as Jews that we become a target is bad enough. But in the face of all of that, we'll be resilient, and the community will stand and act boldly and proudly as Jews. That's throughout the entire history of the Jewish people. That's what we've done. But now is the time to also realize that this doesn't just happen. It shouldn't just be the Jews who are standing with our community. We need everyone to understand that calls to globalize the intifada are calls for violence. We've said it over and over. No one wanted to be proven right, but here we are at this moment. My sympathy for these families and for the loss, the profound loss that they will feel for the rest of their lives, has to be matched by a commitment within our community to honor their memories by standing strong and firm in support of ourselves, our values, the Jewish state of Israel, everything that we believe. That's how we go forward from this moment. And we look forward to having so many friends and allies stand with us in rejecting the kind of vile anti-Semitism that we've seen grow and unchecked in so many parts of the world.
To hear Sarah Milgrim's father say that they actually were concerned about her safety upon hearing she was traveling to Israel, I believe just this weekend, and that was where this engagement was supposed to happen, that her parents were concerned about her safety there as opposed to here, speaks volumes. And we talk about the rise in anti-Semitism, how pervasive it has been way beyond and way before October 7th. It was chilling that in 2017, as a student in Kansas, swastikas were graffitied on her public high school in Prairie Village. And she was a senior at the time, and she told a local television station, quote, "I worry about going to my synagogue, and now I have to worry about safety at my school." And that shouldn't be a thing. And Ted, that has become a natural thing, sadly, that we've had to accept as Jews in America and around the world, just knowing that you go to services and there's a police presence there. What can people do? What can, as you said, Jews are sadly prepared for this. What can allies and those who want to support Jewish communities and other marginalized groups that are susceptible to these types of attacks, what should they be doing?
Well, I appreciate it. It starts with zero tolerance. This isn't something, and recognizing that everyone has a role to play. This fighting anti-Semitism and fighting hatred is not something that can be left to others. It's not something that we should expect the government can solve on its own. It's not something that we should expect religious officials should be able to solve on their own. It's something that requires all of us. When anti-Semitism is normalized, when people turn away, when they turn away in the United States to the kinds of rhetoric that we knew could lead to violence, when they turn away, when someone in a bar in Philadelphia has a sign that says "F the Jews" and others laugh, when they just accept hatred of any kind as normal, that's when we find ourselves in a moment like this. What can they do? Zero tolerance. No matter who you are, think about your friends, your neighbors who are Jewish. The people that you know, that you work with, talk to them, help make them understand that you know this is a moment that is tough for them, but it's tough for you also, that it's tough for all of us, that we cannot accept this and that we won't accept this. And when you hear someone say something that's anti-Semitic, you should call it out. And you should go to AJC.org and look at Translate Hate to better educate yourself on what anti-Semitism is and the fact that it's not something that's sprung up on October 7th. It's something that we've sadly been dealing with for millennia. With education and with a commitment to act, we can stand together to push the anti-Semitism that we've seen back to the margins, under the rocks where it rightfully belongs. That's what we need our friends and allies to do with us.
Amen. And may Sarah and Yaron's memories be a blessing. Ted Deutch, thank you so much.